Hello everybody, welcome back to the Mega Campaign 2024 Victoria Edition. Now immediately I know what you're all going to say, where is Victoria 3? Today is not the day we're doing Victoria 3 because it's still not quite where I want it, but I do think this may be one of the last years that we do Vic 2 in the Mega Campaign. I really do want to give Vicky 3 a go, but it's just not quite where I want it to be for me to fully enjoy it and really, you know, not just be bored during the whole game. Now, like I said, this is probably going to be the last Mega Campaign we do as Victoria 2. I'm still not entirely sure if we're going to be doing a Redux campaign this year. If you want to see one, you should definitely let me know down below, because I'm not entirely sure a lot of people enjoy the Redux versions of the Mega Campaigns. And maybe if we do Redux this year, we'll actually go ahead and do the Vicky section in Vic 3. I don't know, that sounds like a good compromise, right? You know, you're going to have to let me know in the comments down below. And while you're there, leave a like and subscribe, and then comment rap, because that's all you ever do. But yes, welcome to Vicky 2. The world is looking pretty much exactly how we left it in EU4. Yep, exactly how we left it. The Mughals are absolutely disgustingly, insanely overpowered. There were a few small quirks with the converter that, you know, they have changed a few names, like the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, although I kind of think that's a bit more fitting than Westslavia, considering Westslavia is way too west and way too east. But actually in EU4, their tag was the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. They were just called Westslavia, which was kind of interesting, I guess. The Hungarians, they're looking mighty fine with those borders, you know. There's a lot of interesting things going on here. And we have France and the Byzantines wrestling over control of northern Italy. I do think this game is going to be a pretty hot one because we've got a lot of conflicting land between all these great powers. We also have the Americas, which of course Britannia had no interest in the entire game, which has led to absolute Spanish and French control, which is kind of scary. Yeah, the Spanish colonial empire is very vast and very, very powerful. Way more powerful than our quote-unquote empire, which is very small in comparison. We did wrestle control of South Africa, and obviously we have reunified with the homeland in Egypt. We also have full control of Norway, and our dynasties have all been reunified, except of course for the French, who are completely independent and also a monster we've created. And for once, we are not going into this incredibly overpowered. Our great power rank is actually only 5. We have the Mughals, the French, the Spanish, the Polish, the Byzantines, and then us, barely keeping up with any of them. But the days of feudalism and dynastic kin are definitely over. Instead, it has been replaced with imperialism and industrialization. And for us to actually stay relevant, we are gonna have to get on board and carve out a bit of an empire somewhere. And I think a good place for us to start might be in Indonesia. The Mughals already have a claim over here, but touching India is definitely going to be way out of our reach, as the Mughals again have got their thumb all over that. But currently they are behind. They are a primitive nation converted into Vic 2, but they will westernize, and when they do, oh god, we've got a rut. So I think we're gonna have to work our way around over here. We do have a couple charter companies I bought in EU4, so we're gonna have to make the most of that. Now we are gonna play in the converted date, which is 1817, exactly where we left off in EU4, and let's try and keep something together here, because I am a bit worried with our divided empire and homelands. It might be a bit tricky to hold on to. Now our culture was obviously converted. We have unified with the Egyptians for the most part. A little bit of the Egyptian culture that is not Anglo-Liptonian is still alive over there, but for the most part we shouldn't have to worry too much about uprising, as both the British Isles, Norway and Egypt are all unified finally. Now compared to everyone else, our population's a lot lower. We're only at 13 million, and our second city is Cairo. Now we are blessed with the fact that we are an absolute monarchy, which which is meaning off the bat we can get straight into some forced industrialization. And I think if we really want to catch up with these other major powers, we do need to focus on that industrialization. As we're starting off, there is a war going on, the Polish-Lithuanian liberation of Swedish Lower Elbe, which is not great for the Swedes, as the Poles have a ginormous army. Jesus. Okay, now immediately the French have been declared on by the Spanish, and I think it's going to be in our interest finally to sever our alliance. We have been friends for far too long, and whilst we were allies just because of our dynastic relations, those times are behind us, and we really need to focus on ourselves. This war is definitely not looking good for the French. They're against 1,000 divisions. They've got absolutely everyone against them in there, and they don't have many divisions at all. Now, although the Europeans aren't busy, we've launched our operation to seize Borneo. There we go. We have won our war. Our first little step to controlling all the Far East. Oh boy, there's a lot of instability already in these empires. The Carlists have risen up in Spain, and France, after losing their war, did send me an alliance, and it ain't looking too good. I think for the most part, this is going to lead to a lot of instability over here in the Americas. Well, we have powered our way up to number 2 GP from mostly our prestige and industry, and funnily enough, the second to industry right now is actually Sweden. They're doing incredibly well. I also realized there was a whole bunch of land you can actually colonize early over in Africa, so we've extended all of our African land a whole bunch too, and we've taken a little bit more territory off of the Indonesians. I do really need to get some reinforcements over here pretty soon though, because if I want to conquer any more, I'm going to have to start fighting a lot of these big armies, and the army I sent over has been battered. Ooh, Brazil's actually broken free from the Spanish, so they've sent me an alliance, and they are known as the Ecuador Confederation, which is a very cool name. Very interesting to think that I was very close to conquering all of this at one point, but you know, I think it's very fitting that they've come back to make an alliance with us. Now, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I think we need to fight the Mughals. You see, currently, they're primitive. Eventually, they're not going to be primitive, which means the best time for us to strike is whilst we are technically stronger than them. They have an absolute ton of troops though, but if we have a small little localized war, say over West Java over here, we might be able to get the win off. For this to work though, I'm definitely gonna have to get a larger navy. They still have a pretty large one themselves, so to keep everything, and specifically them from landing more troops, we're going to have to beat them there. We already have a somewhat sizable navy over here, but I am going to build a even larger one, and then we're going to attempt to free West Java. Oh, this one's huge. The Swedish liberation of that province that they lost when they fought, and they've got the damn Greeks on their side, and Frisia. Everyone always forgets that Frisia exists. The Byzantines did reform into the Greek Empire, and it looks like we're getting a pretty large war right now, and they're almost even, honestly, so this could go either way. Oh, we've got our goal on the Mughals. This could go absolutely horrendous, but we're gonna see what we can do. Well, the war has gone pretty well. We've swept them out completely down here, and it looks like they can't even raise their armies all the way up, as I'm assuming they are a bloated mess. Oh, and we have destroyed a huge part of the Mughal navy there. Let's see if we can get the rest. Oh, they retreated down into port. Completely forgot I own this part of Korea, and Pyongyang is currently under siege. Oh, that's huge. Can we actually beat that though? I mean, they're not full strength, so yeah, I think we've got that easy. Okay, nice. There we go. We've actually probably put a pretty big dent in them, especially with the reparation. Okay, we're going back in on the Mughals. I just gotta free Casus Belli, because I'm allied to Japan, to free their cause. Now, in freeing those Japanese cause, I'm gonna have to hope that the Japanese are actually gonna go march over there themselves and deal deal with that because I'm going to focus mostly on this little area here. Yeah, it's looking like our Japanese allies are having no trouble whatsoever, which is very good. It turned out to be pretty damn easy. Hopefully I don't come to regret this when they finally wake up. Oh, now originally I was breaking this alliance with the French, but I'm starting to feel a little bad for them. Once again, super outnumbered by this alliance, the Polish, Lithuanian, Commonwealth, and Spain. So I'm going to see if we can't even it out for them just one time. Okay, we've won a lot of battles with our death stacks, but the problem is there are a lot of troops and I can't hold them all back. And French ain't doing nothing. Yeah, we are playing super defensive, and I am essentially just luring the AI onto our smaller stacks and then going in to reinforce them. We're much better off playing defensive in Vicky 2, especially for every single battle. Yeah, it wasn't too much we could actually do there. We haven't lost. The French lost, but still, we gave them a good shot, actually. We won all of our battles. Yeah, but this Polish-Spanish alliance is definitely going to be a big thorn in my side, I reckon. Okay, that is good to see. The Mughals are having quite a bit of rebel problems. If China could break free out of them, that would be pretty big for us. Oh, you never guess what? They are once again swapping the same province over and over again. The Swedes and the Poles will go at it to the end of time. Okay, now that's confusing because Poland's fighting Poland. Yeah, the Polish uprising has happened, which, maybe it makes sense, but I don't think they're really going to be winning that one. I mean, I could intervene, but I really don't want to look at those borders any longer than I need to. Well, looks like the Indians are actually fighting back on their own against the Mughals and winning, no problem whatsoever. Which means I think once again it's time for us to do a little meddling. It is going to take us one hell of a fight, but the Mughals are so weak they don't even have any army or troops left to even stop us, but we're going to attempt to free a piece of China from them. Okay, there you go. It's only a small state, but it is a bigger step to taking down this large empire. Well, the incredibly weak France has actually gone ahead and overthrown the dynasty that we put on. They are now a republic. I'm not too sure if this is really going to stabilize them in any which way or just radicalize them even more, but France is not doing too well. They do still have a few of their colonies, specifically Vermont, but they did lose Canada, which is Nova Scotia, and it immediately has gone up to a great power. So I have these little war goals on certain Indian states where I can claim them for the British Raj, which is obviously a leftover from base HPM. And even funny, I've noticed I have one on the Mughals, which would make me puppet their entire empire, which obviously we're not going to do. Although just out of interest, I'm going to launch this one on Mysore, just to see how this works. It has nothing to do with the fact I also just invented the machine gun. Well, we've established our puppet in India. It was no problem whatsoever. Am I going to defend it though? No, we're leaving. We need to start thinking about mopping up the rest of Indonesia, which is definitely generating us a lot of wealth for the empire. Now, if you're interested in what the current standings are looking like, here you go. Obviously, my economy, pretty damn good, but surprisingly, the AI this time around has been on top of it. Just look at that right there. Honestly, one of these surprising ones is Lorraine. They were Lithuania, and they were pretty damn bad, but they've actually carved out a really nice industry in what little land they have. I mean, yeah, in comparison, Lorraine's got like 1,300 industry. France is half of that at 600. It's definitely been a very dire game for the French. Now, I gotta say, this whole colonizing thing is turned out to be a very taxing experience. Well, Lorraine, the surprise contender for absolute boss of this campaign, has woken up and they're actually rushing into the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth right now and actually winning, and I don't know how. Okay, scratch that. I was looking at just the military strength off of this, but that is not what we're looking at. Lorraine's got 681 brigades, I'm assuming from mobilizing, and the boss only got 219, which is going to explain quite a bit here. Yeah, they just actually won. What we're seeing here now is definitely the rise of a new, very, very powerful state. Oh my god, I don't know what just happened, but Lorraine isn't a thing anymore. Because either Lorraine, after they won that war, did something, or the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth did something, but it's been replaced. Oh my god. What a absolute monster. I have no idea how that came about, but I think it might have had something to do with that being a brothers' war between Lorraine and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. And we've got a new union on the block. I mean, they are allied with Spain, and the PLC was allied with them before, so somehow I think it was the Polish that actually brought about this. I don't know how, I don't know why, but this is terrifying. Oh man, they want an alliance. I don't think we're going to accept that. We could probably be a pretty unstoppable force. That means I'm not going to take that. Okay, kind of weird. The Greeks just got an event where it was something about the division of India. They fought these guys over there, and then I actually just annexed my puppet. So now I own southern India directly. I ain't going to go any further into it, but it is also a good thing to point out. The Mughals are collapsing. Yeah, it's actually Tibetan patriots that are actually rising up against them, which is kind of funny because Tibet is all the way over here. Oh, that North German Federation ain't looking too damn stable currently. You know, I've changed my mind. I'm going to get a temporary alliance with the North Germans, and we're going to do something unthinkable. We're going to launch a surprise attack on our French quote-unquote brothers. You see, over time we have propped up the French state, and over time it has only gotten weaker, and a lot of our brethren, that's right, a lot of the culture in France is actually Angliptanian, so much so that our oppressed brothers really do need liberating. But we won't be liberating our brothers on the mainland. We're going to liberate our brothers across the seas. Now, it doesn't matter too much about the North Germans, as they will not actually accept my call to arms, but my other ally, the Greeks, will. It is kind of fitting that for the longest time I propped France up to be a good buffer state between us and the Byzantines, and now we're using the Byzantines to destroy the buffer state. It's very fitting to think that we launched our wretched invasion of the UK from these very lands we are now invading. Now, this is definitely a great war in all but name, and what's really funny, and actually deeply ironic if you kind of think about it, is that we're actually going to go ahead and fight this war to actually release Vermont, which is the United States of America, the French colony over here that is stuck under their tyrannical rule, even though they've been very subservient and happy under the French the entire time. But, you know, they don't know what they want. They want freedom, and freedom I have given them. Well, the sting of betrayal is hitting the French again. I got called in as my ally, the Californian Republic, wants to get Nevada off of them. Oh, the second war of kicking the French down the stairs has gone pretty damn well. Yeah, we're not going to carry this on any longer than it needs to be. We're just going to go ahead, release Louisiana from them, and California apparently didn't do too well over there. They actually got pieced out on their own. I'm not actually too sure how they lost that. Okay, man, I have not looked at China in a while. It is definitely popping off. The Chinese are slowly whittling down the Mughals and gaining their independence, and well, currently the 11th War of Chinese Reunification and the 12th War of Chinese Reunification are ongoing, so maybe it's not too slow after all. Oh, the Belgians are trying to break free from the French, you know? I feel like we're really kicking them while they're down. But, oh. Maybe we're not kicking them while they're down. That's just one province. Yeah, I feel like we've been missing something. A great war. Hey, you know, the Spanish have kind of been going unchecked this entire game. They've actually held on to a pretty stable realm, other than Ecuador breaking free. Oh, and apparently also Colombia. I missed that one. But nonetheless, the Spanish have gone unchecked for a while. Therefore, I'm going to check them, okay? Like a much abused housewife, the French are back on side. Well, our justification is ready, and we are going to declare it to call everybody in, and that is the Great War. And oh boy, it's going to be a big one. Yeah, I love the fact we got the Great War there, then the 14th War of Chinese Reunification, and the 15th War of Chinese Reunification. Oh, and the Tibetan Liberation, the Tibetan Plateau. Ah, well, the cowardly French did not join us in our war against the Spanish, and neither did the North German Federation. Oh, scratch that. I got the event to get more allies and look around for some, and I got both France and the Greek Federation, which are more than happy to get involved now, apparently. Okay, the main front over here is looking really good. We're holding pretty nicely. I'm only taking defensive battles, and when we do, we obviously do really well and destroy the Spanish. The French apparently have rolled the random dice, decided to be competent to date. They've mobilized up, which is great. They've got a whole bunch of troops, and they are fighting the Spanish and losing a whole bunch of men, but they are winning the battles. The Greeks are handling the Hungarian front, who actually did manage to muster up a whole bunch of troops, but it looks like the Greeks have it covered. As for what's going on in North America, because I do have Louisiana and Vermont as allies, I'm not too sure. And I also don't seem to care. The only front that we're struggling with is definitely the African one. I do not have enough troops to really go ahead and keep that garrisoned, but my puppet, South Africa, is going pretty much actually really well right there. They got a bit of Greek backup as well, so you know what? Competence all around. I am mounting a defense and counterattack over in North Africa though, because Egypt is essentially our second homeland. Well, with that and the successful counterattack in North Africa, we've even got our reinforcements coming up to re-liberate all our colonies over here. It is the nail in the coffin for the Spanish Empire. I truly have no idea what's about to occur in this peace deal though. Both Hungary and Spain will be dismantled. The Greeks have also demanded a whole bunch of land off the Hungarians, and the French want to dismantle constructions in Hungary, which sure. Okay, well, Spanish Africa has been completely divvied up. We have got ourselves a little bit of land. We took the rest of Nigeria, but the French and the Greeks seem to have taken the majority of everything there. Mainland Spain is looking a little rough, although it is funny seeing Galicia back on the map, considering they used to own all of Spain. And oh boy, poor Hungary. Oh, and you'll never guess what the North Germans and the Swedes are once again fighting over. Wait, are they trying to dismantle the North German? Uh-oh. Alright, I don't think Sweden's going to win that, but if they do, we might see an absolute explosion happen. Uh-oh. They're getting allies. I could get involved. I am allied with the North Germans. They haven't called me in, but I think I might just stick around to watch this show. Alright, that was actually pretty close, but the North Germans did win it. That would have been very funny, though, to see them fall at the final hurdle. Fellas, I ain't too sure if you've heard, but the Chinese are unifying. Okay, we're in 1926 now, and I can think of only one thing worthy of our time to finish this game off. We are finally gonna put the nail in the coffin for the Mughals. I'm fed up of the 20th Chinese reunification wars. I'm just gonna do one reunification war, and that should be that. Okay, now I guarantee this might take a little bit of time. Aggression? Man, you know that's depressing. The Mughals called the Philippines in, who are actually now in charge of the war because they are so damn weak. And they also are willing to sell them out immediately. Oh, there you go. Mughals have been dismantled. And they've still got quite a bit of land, huh? I mean, to be fair, I think it did mostly explode Southeast Asia over there and a few of their little Chinese holdings, but they've still got too much land. I was about to say, I don't think too much is going to be happening now at the end of the game. We can just ride this out for another 6 years, but German liberation of Kazan against the Greek Federation. Oh god, okay, we're not getting involved. If we get involved in that, that could turn into a grey war, and that could not go well for us. Plus, I really don't want to help the Germans, considering they have overtaken me in industry score now, which makes sense because they're ginormous. You know, watching the Greeks and the Germans tear each other apart, what's it to me? Oh, looks like the Germans have actually swooped up and won that one very damn quickly. Not too surprising. The Germans are pretty damn powerful. They got a ton of troops. They got 920. The Greeks got 883. Actually, that's not too bad. Well, the Germans won, and their industry score just it keeps going up, and there is nothing I could do to stop it at this point. Oh man, of course, the damn Germans and the Swedes are giving it one last go before I end this game over this stupid province. Yeah, the worst part is as well, I'm looking at that, then right above it is the 25th War of Chinese Reunification. Oh, France just sent me an alliance. I accidentally accepted it instead of saying no, and poor France, man. Oh yeah, I also have no idea who just won that war over there because I was busy putting down a revolt, but I'm assuming the Swedes lost. And I say that because they had the war goal to dismantle the Germans, and I don't see them exploding currently, so I don't think they won. Okay, well, we are about to reach 1936, which is the end of Victoria 2, which means we are completely done, which is a little bit inconvenient because I did just realize the Second Great War is going on between Louisiana, Colombia, and Vermont and France. France, by the way, has flipped to communism. Yeah, the world is definitely looking very interesting. The 5 emperors we did have back in the day have been most certainly whittled down. In fact, I think out of all of them, it's just me and Spain that are left. The Germans, of course, are absolutely monstrous, and if this game went on any longer, they probably would have overtaken me as #1 GP. I mean, the only real thing that's propping me up is obviously my insane prestige. The Greeks have done really well. They're also keeping up nicely. They got 7,000 industry score, a good army, and decent enough prestige. And obviously the industry is what's going to carry over into Hoi 4 mostly. So looking at the final standings here, Colombia, 4th great power in the world, which, yeah, you know what? You're probably, yeah, Colombia. But Colombia is pretty damn powerful. Population 15 million. I mean, it's not insane, but that industry score, and if you actually look at their division count and stuff, they're pretty good power over there. Do believe all of the Americas have now also broken free from all their colonial overlords, and other than the current ongoing war, which I ain't too sure how that's going to carry on over, there is you know, enough peace over here. Vermont definitely has, I think, yeah, the most pop out of any of the nations over there. They just never really got the ball rolling on their industry. It did go up pretty quickly at the end there. They got up to 1,600, but yeah, I don't think they're really going to be able to do too much in Hoi 4. We'll have to see, because obviously they are currently fighting a great war. As for the rest of the world, I mean, there's not too much to say. Frisia, still alive, apparently, and communist. Obviously, our major avenue of expansion was over here in Indonesia, where we pretty much got everything. At the very last moment, we did also get pieces of India, but that's not really anything we really cared too much about. Our money and bread and butter is definitely all over here. We did also take part in the scramble for Africa. Again, we really didn't care too much about all of this stuff, especially all this southern land over here. I have been releasing them as dominions too, because, you know, it's a bit easier to manage, especially when you get 500 revolts pop up. The only real part of Africa we obviously care about is our second homeland over here in Egypt. Now, what exactly is going to go on in Hoi 4, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, there's a lot of cleanup I'm hoping these nations are going to do in that game, because, dear Lord, China has just regressed so much. And even right now, the ongoing 25th War of Chinese Reunification is ongoing. You know, there are small nations still going about, like Korea and Japan, that never really, you know, they didn't get too much done. I've had both of them in my spheres the entire game as well, and they have been pretty useful allies, so we'll see if that'll translate. I'm not too sure where everything's going to go in Hoi 4, but the great power list alone tells me that we're definitely going to have to worry for Germany and the Greeks, specifically, obviously, Germany. They are an absolute monster. But that is the end of the Victoria 2 part of this mega campaign 2024. I hope you've all enjoyed it. It's definitely been very fun for me to play, and I think it's going to be probably one of the hardest Hoi 4 games we've ever played, because Germany, oh boy, Germany. So make sure you stick around for the next part, and you leave a like and subscribe down below, because it will be coming before you know it. But until next time, little Timothys, goodbye.